Let me begin by acknowledging the President-elect, Mr. Jeff Kerr, um, members of the Rotary Club of West Nassau, my colleagues, members of the press. Last week, Thursday, I was in the middle of an armed robbery. It was not the first time I was upfront and personal with a major criminal act this year. This one, however, was the most frightening. I literally saw my life flash before me. Now, when you hear the term your life flash before you, you don't get an appreciation for it until you're involved in an incident like that. I can recount at least 22 instances of major criminal activity where murder, attempted murder, armed robbery, fraud, theft have impacted me, my family, or some of my close friends. It's no secret that crime in the Bahamas is at an epidemic state. We're currently living in a cowboy town, is the term I used. I made this observation and this statement about a year and a half ago, and the Minister of National Security referred to me as being an alarmist. And I asked the question then, and I ask the same question now, at what point do we raise the alarm? I was also cautioned by the Junior Minister of Finance that the international investors are listening, and when they hear the Chamber President making such statements, it may frighten them. Last weekend, there were 4 murders. I don't see the extreme outrage that Bahamian people should be exhibiting because of this. I see fright, I see hopelessness, and I see a people with a near broken spirit. The Bahamas used to be one of the most vibrant nations in the Western Hemisphere. And the news today is dominated by criminal activity. I picked up the papers this morning, and exactly what I said a year and a half ago. The Bahamas is becoming a cowboy town. Brazen daylight shooting. 2 individuals impacted by gun violence. Crime is everybody's problem is often used as an excuse by the current administration in its obvious failures to adequately address the meteoric rise in serious criminal activity. While I agree that crime should be addressed as a community, combating crime effectively takes the deliberate and intentional will of a government by putting policies in place that are resolute, that are comprehensive, and addresses the underlying pathology of this issue. New York City was considered one of the worst places on earth because of the high and severe crime level during the 1990s. Many bold policies and active leadership by the policymakers ensured that the criminal activity today reflect a reduction of 80% of what it was in the 1990s. So if New York City can do it, I don't see why a country like the Bahamas, an island like New Providence, 21/7, can't have a meaningful and a measurable impact. The PLP believes that reducing crime and violence should be our nation's top priority. We have a plan which focuses on prevention, prosecution, punishment, and rehabilitation. We are prepared to commit the resources, the time, and the genuine effort to reduce the level of crime in this country. In fact, we don't have a choice. Otherwise, we run the risk of losing a generation. Programs such as Violence Breakers, National Youth Service, after-school programs, technical and vocational education, 50 Bahamians mentorship programs, and shock treatment as outlined in Project Safe Bahamas, our crime plan, should have that impact. We believe that the strong community associations should play a major role in ensuring that our communities are safe. In concert with increased penalties, swift justice initiatives, we must also ensure that the rehabilitative programs, job placement and job training programs provides an assimilation process to Bahamians that have served their time and are prepared to steer on the path of redemption. At this point, I'd like to tell you a quick story. A young fella that used to work for me some time ago got himself in some problems. And it's so ironic because he called me early this morning. He went to prison for a while. He came out and he decided that he wanted to live a life that his family could be proud of. He was not interested in the criminal lifestyle anymore. He tried to get a job in Nassau. Couldn't get a job anywhere. He went to Freeport, and he's been there for almost a year trying to get a job. 1 year trying to get a job. No success. He called me this morning and he said, I need to get back home. I don't have any money, I don't have any food, and I need a ticket. This is symptomatic of what's going on in this country with crime and the root cause of crime. Here's a young guy that wants to do something positive and productive with his life, and he doesn't have the opportunity to do so. Some of the rehabilitation programs include safe havens, where the clergy and police work together to provide a place of refuge, a 24 hours a day, 7 days a week hotline, where outreach workers are always available, job placement and job training, as well as increased support for faith-based initiatives. Such initiatives contribute to preserving the rule of law through preventative measures and constant resistance to crime. They also forge partnerships with the various sectors of the community, providing vital forums for the dissemination of information in the community that foster and promote community spirit, neighborly love, and national pride. The era of partisanship and acrimony on this issue has long passed, and it's not served the people well over the years. Problems have festered while too much of our leaders' times have been spent assessing blame instead of assuming responsibility or providing concrete solutions to this issue. Today, we must take a new direction. A new era of accountability and transparency must emerge if we are to effectively address this issue of crime. Crime is too high and hope is too low in this country. And it's no secret, I am now in a new realm. As I go through the constituency of Pinewood canvassing and talking to people, it's amazing to see how hopeless people are. It's amazing to see the state that we live in, the conditions under we live. The fear of crime is preventing people from going out at night, preventing them from doing things that they would normally do in a safe and comfortable environment. Together, we can build a better educational system for the proper education of our young people. We will have to make better use of our resources. And one of the initiatives that the leader of the PLP, Mr. Perry Gladstone Christie, mentioned was doubling the investment in education. I think it's a good initiative. In the business community, one of the biggest complaints you have is the mal-education or under-education of employees that come into business. And you can trace that back to a lot of the issues that we face in society as a whole. Together, we will have to cut red tape and adopt a sincere and caring approach to empowering Bahamians economically and politically. We have to make it easier for entrepreneurs to create jobs and business owners to expand their businesses. Together, we must ensure that government is mandated to be a friend and not a barrier to growth and development of Bahamians. The era of expensive and sometimes selfish mandates from special interest groups must end. Most of all, together, we have to restore national pride in our nation. We have the talent, we have the beauty, we have the rich history, we have the natural resources, and the even richer character of our Bahamian people to be proud of again. The problems will not be solved if we retreat into a corner or if we shrug our shoulders in the belief that one person cannot make a difference. This is not the time for cynicism, not the season for cynicism. With a nation in crisis, ladies and gentlemen, we all have to step up to the plate. We have to cast aside blame, and we have to embrace action. It's long past our allotted time. We must bring pride back to the Bahamas. Thank you.